So guys, normally what I do is I'll check my phone whilst I'm on the toilet, you know, checking for news or sports results.
What would happen if I completely disconnect from my smartphone for a full 30 days? Would I be able to survive in this digital age?
This is your spine and your air pipe is quite narrow over here. This tells me that you're continuously bending over.
I don't want to be addicted.
It's almost subconsciously you just reach for your phone.
You know, I wish I could put it away.
I've got an alarm clock. What do you think of it?
Yeah, but I like smartphones better.
How much time do you spend on your phone?
12 hours a day?
Whoa! 12 hours a day?
If something isn't done, there's going to be major social problems.
Oh man, I need my phone back. I'm done.
It's a contradiction. A smartphone, it's sort of making us dumber.
Young girls who spend a lot of time online can have up to 3.8 times the risk of depression.
If you get a bad comment, what do you do?
I usually turn off my phone. Just try not to look at it. But yeah, it definitely internalizes.
I'm definitely a little stressed by what's on my phone.
Everyone's so connected nowadays. The second you feel disconnected, it's like you're anxious because it's like, what's going on?
You know what? I almost got into a car accident whilst you're looking at the Gregories.
It's indicating that you stop breathing about 9 times an hour.
I'll be back. We definitely need to get some magazines in here.
Hey everyone, Simon Foster here from the Screen Watching Podcast. ALEX LYKOS is a busy working actor, writer. The thought of someone like that being without their phone for a whole month must have sent shakes and shivers through his nervous system. It's ingrained in him to have his phone with him, but that's what he chose to do for his new film, Disconnect Me, and he's going to explain the method behind the madness. Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
So let's start with that. It's part of who you are as a working actor, a working writer, to always be wondering where the next gig is, where the next lead is. To set yourself the task of being without a phone, being without screens for 30 days must have seemed daunting in hindsight, or even at the time.
Look, I guess it was, but what happened was like most addictions, I was addicted to my phone, and I was addicted to the mindless scrolling. Whether I was having dinner, whether it was, waiting for my coffee, and I would spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on it. But the problem was, unlike, activities, if you go for a run, you feel good after it. I'd be spending 2 hours scrolling through my socials, and I'd feel bad. I'd feel worse than I was before I began. I'm like, hold on a second. Where's the return on investment here? All right. I'm spending 2 hours of my time and I'm feeling worse. And it reached the point where it was affecting me, mentally. You gave your intro about, myself being in the arts, and it's a hard gig being in the arts. It's very hard because I've been at it now for many years, and, you can struggle. It can be a struggle when you see perhaps colleagues that you started with perhaps excelling a little bit more than what you might be. And, you can't help but compare and ask yourself, well, when's my break going to come? When won't it be a struggle for me, right? And that just puts you in a bit of a bad state because you suddenly feel a lot more unsuccessful. And all those types of thoughts, those negative thoughts, what am I doing? Questioning my career choices, should have been a property developer, or in the stock market,
Yes, I've had those thoughts, yes.
Yeah, right. And I just felt that for me, social media was exacerbating that.
Yeah.
And I've been working hard at the last 2 years on gratitude and being grateful for what I do have. And I felt that was making it harder for me to do so. Yep. So I just needed a little circuit breaker, just something small. This wasn't meant to be anything big or anything like that. Just to kind of hold me to account so I can do it and see how I go.
The pitch is a great pitch. It's 30 days without your devices, but there's a whole lot more to the film that I wasn't expecting. how you expose the industry for its child labor laws in South America, and the impact upon the younger people of our community, and the roles the phones play in their life, both good and very bad. It's certainly not a smack you over the head message kind of documentary, but it is one that reveals this thing that we've let into our lives on a daily basis to be not all good.
Yeah, look, so that evolved. People were telling me, documentary filmmakers were telling me that, hey, look, you're going to find your film towards the end. You're going to find your movie in the edit. I didn't quite understand that, but that's something that evolved. And we had all this other stuff in some of the earlier cuts. It just kind of went all over the shop. Once we just decided to say, righto, let's keep this about about the human and that relationship between the person and the smartphone, and look at that from different angles. It could be as it relates to how you use your phone, how I use my phone, how children use their phones, and it could be how phones are made. How we are kind of moving towards a society where we are becoming more and more dependent on our phones. And we just wanted to give a bit of an overview of how that phone relates to us from a variety of different angles, be it what the physical makeup is of the phone, and does that play a role in how we use it, or do we feel any guilt with how we use it? And we just want to touch on stuff and then move on.
We sometimes joke that the next generation will be born with, start developing these giant thumbs because of all the texting and that sort of thing. That was put into very stark terms. 3 words: straighten neck bone. That's a scene that I just went, oh my God, it's starting to happen. What shocked you most about how physiologically you reacted to years on the smartphone have had?
Look, I didn't see that coming, but I'm speaking to you now, and my neck is hunched over, right? I'm hunched over. That can't be good for your posture.
Yeah.
That can't be good for your, for your spine, right? But we don't think about it, and we just do it, right? You don't feel the pain, you get a headache, and off you go, take some Panadol, and you're done, right? But obviously there is some long-term impact as a result of a lot of us, being hunched over for so many hours in the day, whether it is on the laptop or whether it is on the mobile phone, right? So there's got to be some physical, I guess, ailment as a result of that. And it was just good to become aware of it. I try to walk with a bit better posture now. I'm not on my phone anywhere near as much. I'm sure you're going to ask me about, some of the what I got out of the experiment. I can answer that if you do end up asking that question. But I find it was just good to become aware of it. Does that mean I'm not going to use my laptop? I'm not going to use my smartphone? Absolutely not. And one of the things I wanted to do was not make a phone bashing film, a technology bashing film, a social media bashing film. I tried not to do that. What I tried to do was say, look, this technology is quite amazing, really. But if we can find a way to use it whereby it's serving us and not controlling us, and find that balance, then it's great. It's fantastic. I've got friends in the United States, family in Greece. I can keep in touch with them via social media, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. That's fantastic. I can flick over a photo, a video very, very quickly. They're great things to have. But when it was affecting me, where I was feeling bad about who I am, I'm not focusing on all the good things in my life. I know that I needed a circuit breaker. That's for me. Doesn't necessarily mean for everybody.
The extra time you've had, you got out on the golf course again, mate. You're a little bit loose on the backswing. I was watching that.
It's terrible.
It was a terrible backswing. What's going on there, mate? Yeah.
You shouldn't be looking. I shouldn't have,
How could I not look at that backswing?
No, not you, me. I shouldn't, right? Because I hit it okay. I saw it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I had a vision of Rory McIlroy backswing, not that backswing.
It wasn't Rory, no.
Okay. Right? I shouldn't be looking at that. Oh, it's terrible. I've tried to fix it since then, but no luck. I've gotten worse.
No golf documentaries from now on in. Just take your time with it.
No, that was terrible.
I want to play a little bit of a devil's advocate here, and you've touched on this. You've kind of mentioned this in some of your answers, but are you in a position where you found yourself biting the hand that feeds you a bit, because it is such an integral part of what we do every day and how we live our lives? And you say you didn't want to make a phone bashing or a technology bashing film. How do you walk away from this thinking good things about modern technology?
Well, look, see, for me, because we are in the arts and it's very important to have a social media profile.
Yeah.
Like you say, to connect with people. You know, we did that. We premiered the movie in WA and we connected with people on social media, right? Fantastic. I've managed to, for me, work out a way to use social media whereby it does help me, you know, and that is I've got social media. I've got Instagram, I've got Twitter, and I've got Facebook. However, I don't have those apps on my smartphone. I've got them on my laptop. So when I'm at home, yep, I can quickly scroll through social media and put up a post. You know, after you and I chat today, you know, I'll put up a post, had a great interview. Fantastic. Then I'll leave it. And when I leave the house, I don't think about social media. You know, I like politics, right? So before I was just sifting through Twitter, you know, just it was crazy, right? But now I'll get home at night after I've been out all day, look at all the highlights of politics on Twitter, and I'm done. It's 15 minutes. So it's great. I can still, you know, message people. I can still message people on Facebook Messenger. And I tell them, hey, look, if you don't hear back from me, I'll get back to you by the end of the night or something, you know? I address all my messages on Facebook Messenger at night. It takes me about half an hour, 40 minutes, and I'm done. The good thing for me is I'm a writer, you know, and the good thing for me is that when I'm out, going for a walk or whatever the case may be, I need to be in my head. I need to have the characters bouncing in my head for a long period of time. They can live there. But if I'm mindlessly scrolling, I can't do that, right? So it's allowed me to live in my headspace, to think about things a lot more throughout my day. But, you know, when I get up in the morning, quickly check my socials, you know, who liked my post, who didn't like my post, which is very, 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 very bloody important, apparently. But then I let it go.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm using the simplistic analogy that when I go to the supermarket and I buy that chocolate bar and it's in the fridge, I'm going to bite off a couple of pieces. However, if it's not in the fridge, I can't do it. Right? I know it's a simplistic analogy, but
it makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
It just speaks to, at least I can have my day where I can kind of be in my own headspace to think about things. I've been doing it now for a year, and sure, I still have, you know, bad moments, significantly bad moments, but I reckon it's probably reduced a little bit, and it has been a bit more positive for me. You know, I've been focusing on being more grateful in my life the last couple of years, so it allows me to kind of, I guess, focus on that a bit more.
You start the film off with a short but really lovely sequence about how good it was to grow up without all these influences in your life. And I'm of a certain age as well. And even in the early years of my professional life, I was still, you know, phoning in to get messages, and I still had to fax orders to people and that sort of stuff. So I remember a time without emails and without the... Is it here to stay? Are we ever going to get back to that moment?
I don't think so, nor do I think we want to, right? I don't think we want to. There's just so many good things that come from technology.
Sure.
Look at this now. You and I are doing a Zoom interview, right? How good's this? You know, we're both going to be very savvy with our time because of it. And, you know, you're going to load it up and it's going to go out there into the world very, very quickly. That's fantastic. You know, we can't deny the magnificence of technology. Let's not even speak to, you know, how technology has improved our health, and, you know, when it comes to pacemakers and hearing aids, and I mean, I could go for days about that, right?
Oh.
So it's fantastic. It's just, you know, that social media can be a bit of a rabbit hole, especially as it speaks to teenagers, young children. You know, the internet's the wild, wild west. And, you know, having our young children being exposed to all kinds of things on the internet, that's something we need to be conscious of. You know, I guess, you know, the impact it might be having on on teenage girls in relation to how they look. These are things that we probably need to be conscious of and become more aware of. And, we asked the question in the movie, should social media be regulated? I think it's worth having that discussion. Whether it should or not, that's up to the community to decide. But I think it's worth having that discussion.
Mate, I probably should have led with this, but you are absolutely preaching to the converted here. You've inspired me to, because I am that person. I'm the one who sort of clicks on the phone and scrolls through mindlessly while I'm, on the train. And I was only saying the other day that it's been so long since I've sat down and read a book cover to cover, just because tearing myself away from the podcast roster or the social media all that sort of stuff is becoming increasingly daunting and far less rewarding over time. So I think you've made a very timely and a very entertaining film. Alex Lykos, thank you so much for your time, mate. And I'll put all the details of the film's rollout in the links below. And congratulations.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you, mate. That was great. It's such a good film, and it's always lovely to talk to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks very much, Simon. And hopefully I'll run into you in person sometime.
And it'd be nice. It'd be nice. Well, what's the rollout like across Sydney? October 19. Yeah. Well, you're out of the Ritz and.
No. So we're doing the Ritz on the 24th of September. That's this Sunday.
Right.
That's a Q&A.
Yep.
And believe it or not, cinemas have gotten behind it.
Good.
Palace have programmed the movie into all their cinemas across the country. I was hoping for a cinema release of about 4. We're now at 30.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's timely. It's what people want to talk about.
Yeah,
So
I think so. There's an angle there. It looks like the media's getting behind it.
Yeah.
So let's see how we go. If we can just create a discussion,
sure.
I think the film's done its job.
Good on you. Thank you, Alex. Have a lovely day.
Thank you very much. Mate. You too.
Bye-bye.
Ta. See you.